Hello, everyone. How do you do? I'm really happy you're here right now, in this moment, because you didn't have to press play. You could have kept scrolling. You could have told yourself, maybe later, but you didn't. You chose this. And that already tells me something powerful about you. You want more, not more pressure, not more perfection, but more truth, more growth, more movement. So let's begin, gently. Today's topic is one that touches us all no matter what language we speak. It's about the quiet delay we keep telling ourselves, I'll try tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. It's just not the right time. Sound familiar? Those are not bad words. They're not shameful, but they are powerful because the more we repeat them, the more we believe them. And soon, those gentle sentences turn into walls that keep us stuck. Let me tell you about Ravi. Ravi is from India. He dreamed of moving abroad and working in tech. He knew English was part of that path. But every day, he found a reason not to practice. I'm too tired. I'll start after this project. I don't want to sound stupid today. He wasn't lazy, he was scared. And that's what most excuses really are. Not laziness, but fear in disguise. Fear of sounding wrong. Fear of not improving fast enough. Fear of trying and still failing. But here's what changed for Ravi one evening. He sat down and said one sentence out loud, I don't need to be ready. I just need to begin. That was it. He didn't speak for 30 minutes. He didn't do a big practice session. He just replaced an excuse with action, one tiny action, and the next day he did it again and again, and slowly he became someone who showed up, not someone who waited. That's the shift I want for you, not to force yourself, not to feel guilty, but to ask yourself gently, what am I really afraid of right now? And then to take one breath, one step, one spoken sentence in English. Because habits don't begin with motivation. They begin with movement, and movement is louder than fear. In the next part, we'll explore the types of excuses we don't even notice how they hide inside our routines and self-talk and how to gently shine a light on them. But for now, I want you to try something. Think of one small thing you've been putting off. Not a big goal, just something tiny. Now whisper to yourself, I'm allowed to begin even if I'm not ready. Then do it. Because every action, no matter how small, rewrites your story, and your story is still being written by you. Let's go deeper, because sometimes the most powerful excuses are the ones we don't even recognize. They sound like truth. They wear the clothes of logic. They slip into our thoughts so quietly. We don't notice they're holding us back. Things like, I need to be more organized first. I should review grammar before I speak. I'll start when I feel more confident. These sound reasonable, right? But here's the question. Are they helping you move forward or keeping you in place? Let me introduce you to Lena. She's from Thailand. Soft-spoken, deeply thoughtful. She had been studying English for 5 years, but still wouldn't speak. When I asked her why, she said, I'm still learning the rules. I don't want to speak wrong. And I gently asked her, what if waiting to be perfect is the reason you're stuck? She looked at me, eyes wide, silent. Then she smiled, a little, because something inside her knew it was true. So we made a tiny agreement. Each day, she would speak just one sentence aloud. Wrong grammar, no problem, missed words. Okay, the goal was not correctness. The goal was movement. And slowly, her fear stopped being the boss. Her action became her anchor. Because here's the truth. Excuses often sound wise, but wisdom without action is just delay. So ask yourself now, what are you waiting for? A better time, a quieter room, more energy. Those are all valid, but they're also endless. There will always be something in the way. Unless you decide to step around it, try this. Pick a time of day when you often delay your practice. Instead of saying, I'm too tired, say, I'll just speak one sentence. That's it. Just one. Because the moment you speak, no matter how small you shift from excuse to action, and that shift, it's what builds confidence. Not from reading more books, not from thinking harder, but from doing the thing you've been avoiding. In the next part, we'll talk about the emotional roots of excuses, how self-doubt and old stories quietly shape your behavior, and how you can rewrite those stories from the inside out. But for now, remember this: your excuses aren't proof that you're lazy. They're signs that you care, that you're scared, that you want it to go well. And that's okay. Just don't let that fear become your compass. Let your voice lead instead. Let's slow down and listen a little closer, because behind every excuse, there's a feeling, a tender one, a scared one, a memory, a voice you haven't heard in a while, but one that still shapes your choices. When someone says, "I'm just not ready," they might be remembering a time they felt humiliated. When someone says, "I'm too tired," it might mean, "I don't feel strong enough to fail today." When someone says, "I'm not good at this," they may be repeating a belief that was never theirs to begin with. Let's talk about David. David is from Colombia. He grew up being told to be quiet. Don't speak unless it's perfect. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't make us look bad. Those words weren't just rules. They were walls. Years later, every time he tried to speak English, he felt his throat close. He told me, "I freeze, I can't move." Not because he didn't know what to say, but because an old voice inside him still whispered, "Stay small, stay safe." That's when I asked him to write a new sentence, not in a grammar book, in his heart. He wrote, "I am allowed to sound like a learner. I am allowed to grow out loud." He read that sentence every morning and every evening until, one day, he believed it. And when he did, his English began to bloom. You see, most excuses are just armor. They try to protect us from shame, from judgment, from old pain. But what if you didn't need armor? What if you could speak not to impress, but to connect? What if your words were allowed to be messy and still meaningful? Try this, close your eyes. Think of a moment when someone made you feel small about your English. Now whisper to yourself, "That was their fear, not mine." Let it go. Then say, "My voice is not a mistake. My learning is not a weakness." Because it's not. In the next part, we'll explore how to build small systems of action that don't rely on motivation. Just simple, gentle structure to keep you going, especially when excuses want to take over. But for now, just know this: you are not lazy, you are not weak, you are not bad at English, you're human, you're healing, and you're learning to trust your own voice again. That's more than enough. Let's shift into something practical now, something gentle, simple, and strong. Because here's a truth not many people tell you: motivation is a beautiful feeling, but it's not reliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days, you wake up excited to practice English. Other days, everything feels heavy, and you think, maybe tomorrow. So what do we do on those days? We build a system, not a strict one, not a cold checklist, but a soft structure, a routine that holds you, even when your energy doesn't. Let me introduce you to Emma. Emma is from Poland. She works full-time, takes care of her 2 children, and still wants to improve her English. At first, she said, "I can't find time. I'm too busy." And I believed her because it was true. She was busy. But here's what we created together: a simple 5-minute speaking window. Each day, after she washed the dishes in the evening, she'd pull out her phone and record a short voice note about her day. No grammar rules, no pressure to be perfect. Just, what did I do today? What did I feel today? What do I want to say right now? That was it. And after 2 weeks, she didn't sound like someone practicing English. She sounded like someone living in English. Why did this work? Because it didn't rely on motivation. It relied on rhythm. She tied her practice to something she already did: washing dishes. It became a habit, a ritual. That's what you can do too. Look at your day. Where is there already rhythm? Brushing your teeth, walking to the train, drinking your morning coffee. Attach your English speaking practice to that. Don't wait for a perfect time. Create a consistent one. Try this today. Choose one daily activity you already do. Then say one sentence in English while doing it. Tomorrow, say two. Don't try to practice hard. Just show up softly, daily. That's how you replace excuses, not with guilt, but with grace. In the next part, we'll talk about celebrating progress, even the invisible kind, and how noticing tiny wins can silence the loudest excuses in your mind. But for now, hold this truth. You don't need more motivation. You need a rhythm that supports your voice. And your voice is worth supporting. Let's talk about something many people forget. Progress is not always loud. It's not always a perfect sentence. It's not always finishing a whole lesson. Sometimes, progress is showing up when you didn't feel like it. Sometimes, progress is choosing to speak, even if your voice shakes. But here's the problem. Most of us only celebrate big wins. I finally had a full conversation. I passed my English exam. I got the job interview. Those are amazing. But what about the tiny victories? What about the time you said a sentence in English out loud alone in your room? What about the moment you caught yourself thinking in English without realizing it? What about the courage it took to press play on this video? Those moments matter too. Let me tell you about Minji. She's from South Korea. She was learning English on and off for years and always felt like a failure. I keep quitting, she said. I'm just not consistent. But when we looked closer, something beautiful appeared. She had dozens of voice notes saved on her phone. She had written short journal entries in English. She had paused, restarted, and tried again more times than she remembered. And I said to her, "You haven't been failing. You've been returning. That's not quitting. That's resilience." That moment changed how she saw herself. Because here's the truth. Your brain believes what you repeat. If you keep saying, "I'm not good enough," your brain looks for proof. But if you say, "I'm someone who keeps coming back," your brain starts to notice all the times you didn't give up. Try this. Write down 3 tiny wins from this week. Not big ones. Small ones. Examples. I said hello in English to my coworker. I watched the video without subtitles. I thought in English for 1 minute. Now read them out loud. Let yourself feel the truth of them. Because excuses often come from a sense of failure. And when you start to see your progress, even the quiet kind, those excuses begin to fade. In the next part, we'll explore how to deal with setbacks the days when you do fall into old patterns and how to respond with compassion, not criticism. But for now, I hope you remember every small effort is a thread, and thread by thread, you are weaving something strong, a habit, a voice, a version of you who refuses to give up. And that is worth celebrating. Let's talk about the hard days, because they will come. No matter how motivated you feel today, there will be moments when you fall back into silence, when the excuses feel stronger, when your energy is low and your self-belief is even lower. And that's okay. We are not machines. We are not meant to be perfect or predictable. We are meant to ebb and flow, to pause, to fall, to rise again. The question is not, how do I avoid failure? The question is, how do I respond when it happens? Let me tell you about Bilal. He's from Morocco. He practiced English every day for a month. Then one week he stopped. He felt sick. Then he got busy. Then he got discouraged. When we spoke, he said, "I feel like I've ruined everything. I'm back to zero." I looked at him and asked, "Would you say that to a friend?" He paused. "No." He said, "I'd say, it's okay. Just start again." And I said, "Then say that to yourself, because the way you speak to yourself matters, especially on the hard days. Excuses often return during setbacks. They sound like protection, but really, they are fear wearing a mask." So here's what I told Bilal and what I want to tell you now. Missing a few days doesn't erase your progress. One setback doesn't define your journey. Your effort is not fragile. It's alive. It remembers. You are allowed to begin again and again and again. And because learning isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. And every time you return wiser, softer, stronger. So when the next hard day comes and it will try this don't ask, why did I mess up? Ask, How can I take care of myself today? Speak gently, return slowly, breathe deeply, say one sentence in English. Let that be enough. In the final part, we'll bring it all together. We'll talk about identity, how shifting your self-image can make all the difference in your consistency and courage. But right now, just remember, you are not broken when you struggle. You are human, and every return you make is an act of love toward yourself. You're still on the path, and I'm proud of you for staying. You've made it here. That means something. Not just that you've listened to 6 parts of this journey, but that you've stayed with yourself, through the doubt, through the hesitation, through the small whispers of fear, and now we come to the most powerful part of this whole process. Who are you becoming? Because real change doesn't begin with a perfect plan. It begins with identity. When you say, I'm trying to practice English, you're making it a task. But when you say, I'm a person who speaks English, you're making it a truth. See the difference. Action builds identity, and identity builds consistency. Let me tell you about Femi. He's from Nigeria. He used to say, I'm not an English speaker, I'm just learning. And I asked him, do you speak English every day? He nodded. I smiled and said, then you are an English speaker. Something in his face changed, like a switch turned on. He said, but I'm not good at it. And I said, that's not the point. You don't have to be good to belong. You just have to show up. Femi started saying, I'm an English speaker. He said it quietly at first, then more boldly. Then he began helping others who were just starting. Because the moment you change how you see yourself, your actions begin to follow. You become someone who speaks because you already believe you are someone who speaks. So now I want to invite you to do something brave. Say this out loud, I am an English speaker. I don't wait to be perfect. I practice because I care. I speak because I belong. Let that settle in your body. Feel what it's like to own that truth, because you do belong. This isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. This is about claiming your voice and trusting that your voice deserves space in the world, even when it trembles, even when it stumbles, even when it's still growing. You've replaced excuses with action, and now you're replacing self-doubt with identity. You are someone who shows up, someone who returns, someone who speaks. And I hope you carry that with you, not just in your English, but in your life. Thank you for walking this journey with me, for every moment you chose to keep going, for every sentence you said aloud, for every quiet act of courage. From all of us at Quick Fix English, we believe in you. Come back to this series whenever you need. You're never alone on this path. This is your voice, this is your time, and you're ready.